Welcome back to They Did What? Your source for the internet's craziest, most entertaining stories, where I go with them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today I'm going to go over a story titled, I Became My Mother and Lost Everything. And a shout out to AM for sending this story here. And guys, this is about a gal. I'm guessing she's probably late 20s, maybe early 30s, and is doing the big pity party thing here on Reddit because she completely ruined her marriage. But here's the thing. The biggest issue of this whole thing is that she has become her mother. Her mother did the same exact thing to her dad, and she always despised her mother because of this. Well, guess what? The acorn doesn't fall far from the tree. And I'm going to go over here, guys. Well, I would say good. I would say an entertaining one here. And how proven that you got definitely do your homework with who you marry or get involved with, some serious vetting, and you never can take your eye off the ball, because if you do, it's unbelievable. But anyhow, here's one with the biggest pity party I've heard in a while. So it starts off, she says here, I never imagined that I'd end up here, back in my childhood bedroom, living with my mom, drowning in the mess I've made of my life. Well, you make your bed, you lie in it, honey. I swore I would never be like her. I spent my whole life defining myself against her choices, promising I'd never repeat her mistakes. But now, I'm no better than she was. If anything, I am worse. Well, look, if you went your whole life resenting her for what she did to you, your dad, and all that, and you end up doing the same thing that she did to your husband, yeah, you're worse. When I was 9 years old, my family shattered. My parents divorced, and my world turned upside down. My dad, the man I adored and idolized, was the perfect husband in my eyes. He was kind, loyal, hardworking, and he loved my mom dearly. But that wasn't enough for her. She cheated on him, and the fallout was catastrophic. Well, you can kind of imagine if it was. Think how it broke him. He thought he was doing everything right, and this is how she repaid him. I didn't know the full story at the time. I just knew my dad changed after that. He became distant and cold to everyone except me. It was like the betrayal flipped a switch in him, shutting off any warmth he once had for the world. I found out later that my mom wasn't the first woman to betray him. Oh, man. He was that guy. And sadly, that happens to a lot of guys. Now, a lot of these guys, they make mistakes, don't get me wrong, but they don't deserve that to happen to them. And yeah, I'm sure he went cold to the world. He figured there's nothing worth living for except you. He was good to you. Before my dad married my mom, he'd been engaged to another woman who also cheated on him. He forgave her, tried to make it work, but it didn't last. Smacked him for trying to do that. Can't take back a cheater. Once a cheater, always a cheater. So when he met my mom, he finally felt like he found someone who wouldn't hurt him. Someone who valued the kind man that he was. I think that may have been part of the problem. He probably was too kind. He probably was too trusting. And, the sad thing is, these are great qualities to have, being kind and trusting and loyal. But sadly, look how often it's repaid. But her infidelity broke something inside of him. He never remarried, never even dated again. He shut himself off from love completely, despite being an attractive, fit, and desirable man. Well, can you blame him? Friends, family, even I encouraged him to move on, but he wouldn't. Well, define move on. Move on and embrace things in your life that make you happy, or move on like, oh, well, you got to get back in the saddle again. No, he doesn't need to be married a third time here. My dad would say, once is a mistake, twice is a lesson. He learned his lesson the hard way. My mom, on the other hand, jumped from one bad relationship to another. There's an effing surprise. None of the men she dated treated her with half the respect my dad did, and that's what she was attracted to. Watching her stumble through her life only fueled my resentment towards her. Okay, guys, so you can hear this woman here who's doing the woe is me story. Witnessed all this. Witnessed the destruction that the mom did to her dad, and how much it hurt him, and all that. You'd think someone like this would never become like their mom. So, when I was 15 years old, everything came to a head during a massive fight. I'd been caught drinking with friends, and the police brought me to her house. After they left, she started lecturing me about responsibility and respect. It was the last straw. I said, how dare you talk to me about respect? You ruined everything. You had the perfect husband, the perfect life, and you threw it all away. Well, the kid's right. You don't understand what it was like, she shot back. Defensive, Your father, he wasn't enough for me. Oh my God. What? He didn't give you the tingles, Mom? He didn't give you the butterflies? He didn't treat you like shit, so therefore, you got bored with him? Probably the mother here is one of these types that, thought she was garbage, and therefore any guy that actually treated her like a human being was pathetic and weak, and therefore she had to cheat on him and be with people that reinforced what she thought about herself. I froze in place. What the hell does that mean, Mom? She hesitated, her face flushed with shame. She said, I mean, physically. Your father's a good man, but he is small. He's always been a problem, and I couldn't live with it anymore. Are you fucking kidding me? She actually told her teenage daughter that the reason that she cheated is because the dad wasn't packing a lot down south. I mean, it isn't bad enough that everything she's done, now she's got to tell his daughter that, and I'd like to know the definition of small. What, he wasn't 9 inches? Unless he was hung like a preschooler, then I don't see the maid, you can make it work. But even then, shit, if you're hung like a preschooler, you can still make it work somehow. He didn't deserve that. How about I don't get flagged for what I just said? I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. You're telling me you destroyed our family because Dad is a small, you know what? It's not just that, she yelled, but her voice cracked. It's about feeling satisfied, about feeling wanted. Oh, for goodness sake, I'm sure her dad made her feel wanted, but it just wasn't enough. She needed more outside validation. I said Dad worshipped you. He treated you like a queen, and you threw him away for some random losers. You're disgusting. Yep. Story as old as time. Now that night cemented my vow. I would never be like her. I would never betray someone I love, no matter what. Okay, we all heard this part. But I broke my promise. I met Dave in my early 20s. He was 15 years older than me, but I didn't care. He was gorgeous, successful, confident, and kind. Oh, sounds like her dad. He had a steady government job and made me feel safe and cherished. Like my dad, he wasn't perfect. He had a small you-know-what, but that didn't matter to me. Look, I know there's a stereotype about girls marrying their fathers here, but good Lord here. Did she have to go through a whole lot of guys to find out the one with the smallest package? She'd be like, okay, you're like my dad. You're good. I told myself I was better than my mom, that I'd never let something so superficial ruin my marriage. So we got married, and for a while I was happy. Until you weren't. Because are they ever happy? Any guys here that are married or were married or have serious relationships know that deep down, you can't make them happy. Dave was attentive, loving, and incredible in other ways. But as time went on, I started to change. I got restless. I started focusing on what he couldn't give me instead of what he could. And then, like my mom, I stayed. I strayed. See? Just like Mom, couldn't make her happy. And I like to point out, she says here, I started focusing on what he couldn't give me instead of what he did. It's important in life to really take a look at what you're grateful for in life, for the things you have. But so many people spend all their time focusing on what they don't have. And therefore, they ruin good things. If this woman sat back and focused on all the good things she has, what she's grateful for in life, then this wouldn't have happened. People go about the wrong mindset in that regard. At first, it was just physical. I sought out men who were bigger and would give me the thrill, and I convinced myself that I was missing. Would she post ads saying you must be above 8 inches? But it wasn't just about size. With these men, I became a different person. Bold, reckless, free. It was exhilarating, and I hated myself for loving it. I even started to understand my mom's decision in a twisted way. I told myself that maybe she felt trapped like I did and needed to break free. Trapped, break free. Now, we can all joke about marriage being a prison, but let's be honest, if anybody's in a prison of marriage, it's the guy, because we know what happens. But you chose that guy to marry. You chose to get married. But, you're trapped because, God forbid, you're only with one man. His love, his affection. Okay, he's not packing a lot down south, but I'm sure things can be done to, spice things up, compensate, whatever. Nope. But after every encounter, the guilt would come crashing down. Dave didn't deserve this. He was good to me, loving and loyal. I knew I was destroying everything we had built, but I kept doing it. I told myself as long as I kept my affairs discreet, I wasn't really hurting him. It's amazing the BS these people tell themselves. Then he caught me. This poor guy. One day he surprised me at work and saw me leaving with another man. He followed us and caught us having you-know-what in my car. He recorded everything. When I saw him standing there, watching us through the window, I thought he'd explode. But he didn't yell, he didn't say anything, he just looked at me with his devastated calm, turned and walked away. That actually is a worse punishment than him yelling at her and screaming at her and all that there. Calm and cool. That's more scary. And hey, he got on camera. When I got home, my stuff was on the porch. The locks were changed, and he wouldn't answer my calls. I sat there sobbing until my dad showed up. So obviously, she took her time getting home, but that guy was probably on the phone with the locksmith on the way home, probably like, I'll give you whatever you want, change these locks now, meet me at the house now. Put her stuff in garbage bags on the porch. You got what you deserved. And now her dad, of all people, is coming to pick her up. She's become her mother. My dad loaded my things in his car without one single word. On the drive, I tried to justify myself. You don't understand, I said. I felt like I was missing something. I didn't mean to hurt him. Is this selfish a-hole really saying this to her dad? Can you imagine just, it's bad enough for what happened to the dad, and then to learn that his daughter became just like the mother? He didn't even look at me, and he said, you sound just like your mother. I felt like I'd been slapped. Well, I'm not going to say what I'm thinking here, but you're all thinking what I'm thinking. I thought he was taking me to his house, but he took me to my mom's house instead. He loaded my things, looked at me with pure disappointment and said, you made your bed, now lie in it. And then he drove away. Yeah, good. Now I'm here, living with a woman I swore I'd never be like. I've become everything I hated. Dave has filed for divorce. My dad won't even speak to me. I betrayed the two men I love the most in the world. And for what? A thrill? A moment of excitement. I don't know how to fix this. I don't know if I can. I've lost everything, and I have no one to blame but myself. Well, yeah, you have no one to blame but yourself. And I'm sure if you could find somebody, you'd blame it. Tough shit, honey. I don't feel bad for you, and nobody here else feels bad for you. I feel bad for your poor dad, who again has had his heart broken. I feel bad for your husband. But the good thing is, she said that she married the husband when she was like in her, I guess, early 20s, and he was 15 years old. He was late 30s. I don't know how long they've been married here, but clearly isn't that long. So husband's probably in his 40s now. Well, you know what? Husband can start over. He's still in his prime. But this broad is now probably late 20s, maybe early 30s at this point. I'm not sure. Her prime's gone bye-bye. And now she's back living with her mom. And I'm sure that's a fun situation here. And what, she doesn't have a job, she can't get her own place? Now, the divorce probably won't be pretty. But regardless of how it turns out, this guy absolutely has to divorce her. And I love it that he recorded her. I mean, that takes some serious calm, some serious self-discipline and control to not lose it right then and there. Got on camera, went home, packed up her shit. I love it. This is what she deserves. But the worst thing is that she became just like her mother. But, as they say, the acorn doesn't fall far from the tree, or the hoe bag acorn doesn't fall far from the hoe bag tree. So, tough shit, honey. So, you want to redeem yourself? You give your husband the most generous, painless, amicable divorce you can possibly think of. And, I don't know, go to church, do something to redeem yourself, to lead a different life. Find Jesus, because you could use him. Something. But don't try to get sympathy here. And if you truly have accepted the fact that you screwed up, that's a step. And take action not to let it happen again. But who knows? But guys, it's amazing to me, these type of things, how, yeah, oftentimes these people become just like the people they swore they'd never become. But not our problem. I just wish this guy all the best. And I feel bad so much for the dad. And, but again, gentlemen, be very careful who you get involved with. Be very careful about, you got to do your homework, some serious vetting nowadays. And you have to always constantly be paying attention to what's going on. Now some comments here, because, not many people are very sympathetic to her. One guy says here, "Oh my God, you want to be free, then break up with a man. If you want something else, do that, but don't bring others into your life like a child. It's egotistical. And I really hope that karma is going to bite you in the butt someday in the worst kind of way." Well, karma is already biting her in the butt. And one more, this is longer but good. This guy says, "Like your dad said, you made your bed, now you can lie in it. It's because of women like you, there's an overabundance of single men in society who refuse to get married." Exactly. Men are tired of putting up with this kind of crap and being treated like trash simply because they don't match up to modern women's impossible standards. Well, you've heard me say it many times. 6 feet tall, 6-figure income, 6-pack, more than 6 inches down south. Again, we don't know how much this guy was packing, but, speaks a second language, out of $1 million house, plays a musical instrument. I'm sure there's lots of things we can add to the scroll of demands and impossible standards. It's also a direct result of society letting PORN define our S-word standards for a partner. Guess what? PORN is fake and states what you had was the real deal. And you destroyed it for what? Because Dave wasn't hung like a horse? Effing seriously? Grow the hell up and realize this is the real world and not some cheap PORNO movie. There's no fixing this. Give your poor husband the divorce he deserves so he can find himself a real woman who knows how to keep it in her pants. Well, sadly, this guy might attract another woman into his life who's just like her. And you, get yourself into long-term therapy and stay out of relationships until you learn some self-control. Leave Dave alone because you've done enough damage. Amen. Yeah, some therapy and find some Jesus. Now it's Christmas time, the holiday season. It's a good time to find the Lord, get some help. But anyhow, guys, there you go. Turns in just like the mother. And the worst part is, she saw the devastation it caused with the father. Didn't matter. It's all about the tingles. It's all about the butterflies, the attention, validation. I don't feel bad for her. The hell with her. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And guys, you find a good story like me to cover, whether it's a longer one like this or shorter ones I can do on the other channel, definitely send it my way, strongsuccessfulmale@gmail.com. And if you got a personal story you want to share, good one for the channel, send it my way as well, and I'll definitely use it if it works. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.